What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about the top 10 things that America stole from Britain? Jeez, what a way to phrase it, you know? Like we all got in our little burglar outfits and snuck over to Britain and stole everything. You'd thought we'd committed a heist or something. But I understand the sentiment here. There is a lot of things in popular culture. The more that I've learned that there's a lot of British culture stuff that's come to the United States that I wasn't aware of. And now we have even more. The top 10 things America stole from Britain. I think these are going to be fairly interesting, and also, I wouldn't call them depressing so much as sometimes a little shocking, because these can be things that I'm fairly comfortable and certain that they're American, and I probably thought America came up with some of these things, but now I'm gonna have to find out that we stole them. We stole them. No, we just took a little bit of influence, you know. It was all harmless in good nature. Anyway, let's enough of that. Let's get to it. Top 10 things America stole from Britain. Here we go.
Number 10, apple pie.
What?
As American as apple pie, right? Wrong.
Yeah! Yes, what? How? If this is the first one already, how bad could this get? That's a saying. That is that has its own phrase. American is apple pie. When you're talking about something really American, apple pie was invented in Britain. Is there proof? Come on, the first person hundreds of years ago to make apple into pie.
Wrong. The sweet treat is a staple on US dining tables, but the British were the first to serve it way back in the 1300s.
Oh, well, if it was back in the 1300s, okay, that's pretty a long time ago. Probably the first apple pie.
Popular dessert throughout European history, with Dutch and Swedish styles also inspiring menus worldwide, it was taken across the pond with the 17th century colonists. Since then, apple pie has become a standout symbol of US patriotism.
Right. If it came with the American colonists, that would mean it was from Britain. Wow. Is there going to be a bunch of stuff like this just shattering my American worldview? Apple pie? We can't even have apple pie.
As well as a central component to a teen comedy franchise.
It's not what it looks like.
Number 9,
Right.
YMCA. Way
What?
before village people turned this institution into a cheesy disco anthem.
I don't know why I thought the YMCA was an American corporation or gym. I just figured it was, because it was always there. How often do you get a gym that's intercontinental? And plus, it has the song, the YMCA song. Everyone knows it. Super popular in the United States. My goodness.
And long before the YMCA swept across America, the Young Men's Christian Association was the brainchild of English philanthropist George Williams.
Really? I didn't even know what it stood for. Well, I guess you can just trace this back to whoever founded the YMCA, and it's a Brit.
Dismayed by working conditions in 18th century London, Williams conceived the now famous charity as a safe place for its patrons. While the movement's worldwide influence is something to be proud of, difficult to imagine Williams joining in with the dance moves.
Okay.
Number 8, chocolate bars.
What?
I'll eat it now!
What? I feel like... Have I heard this one before? I feel like I have, because I was thinking, come on, chocolate? Britain invented chocolate? That's not a big deal or anything.
Candy bars are big business stateside, but before Mars, Hershey's, Milky Bar or Baby Ruth, there was one bloke in Bristol making confectionery history. Joseph Fry finalised the first mass-produced chocolate bar in the mid-1800s, around the time that the Dutch developed a chocolate press. Fry's chocolate cream hit shelves in 1866 with a famed fondant filling.
Wow. I mean, that's actually kind of amazing to me. Is that the first chocolate bar ever? Did the first one ever have filling? you'd think it'd come out with just the chocolate bar. They had to have just regular chocolate and then the bar with the filling later. Anyway, no need to get into semantics about it. Clearly a British thing.
And the bar can still be bought today. John Cadbury quickly followed suit, while the likes of Hershey's didn't arrive until the late 1890s.
Wow.
Number 7, sandwiches.
What? Sandwiches. Come on. Sandwiches. This one almost isn't fair, because of course, I just expected sandwiches were always there. They're as elemental as gold or something found in the earth. Sandwiches.
Could I have a glass of wine?
Okay,
And a ham sandwich?
if you like.
With a pickle?
All right.
Thanks to world-conquering fast food outlets, Homer Simpson and Joey Tribbiani, you'd be forgiven for thinking that this foodstuff was a US creation. However,
Yeah, I mean, I didn't necessarily think it was a US creation, but the sandwich, bread and something in between it. Who knows who did that first?
the history of the sandwich is long and complicated, and very little of it happened in America. While early versions are
Okay.
recorded across Europe, it's named after the 4th Earl of Sandwich in Kent.
Oh, the Earl of Sandwich. I've heard that before. Oh, man. That's the only way I could have been convinced that it was created by someone. Their name would have to literally have the word sandwich in it. But, wow. You know, another thing I'm realizing, America, in the grand scheme of things, has not been around that long. Britain has been around a pretty long time. It's starting to make a lot of sense why a lot of British influence has found its way into America. And maybe it says something about Americans that we don't like to talk about where our cool stuff came from. As a matter of fact, we might even like to take a little credit for it. Don't ask where our sandwiches came from. Yeah. Well, we made those. Yeah, sure.
The story goes that he was an ardent gambler, and meat between bread was the simplest way of eating without disrupting a game of cards.
Sandwich for display purposes only and should not be eaten.
Number 6, The Office.
The Office. This is probably the number one most cited example. We're sorry, all right? Sorry, but our version of The Office is pretty darn good. Controversial statement.
That's what she said.
And yes, we mean the TV show and not the actual open-plan workplace, which is largely a German invention. Anyway, unlike a lot of American
Germans invented the literal office? Like where you work? Okay, all right.
remakes of British TV, The Office US did manage to tap into most of what made its predecessor pair. But after 9 series and a shed load of awards, let's just remember where it all started.
True. And I do always give props to British comedy in general. No way to really, truly imitate it.
Steve Carell's Michael Scott is hilarious in his own right, but for fans of the British original, he'll always be David Brent in disguise.
That's true. A remake of a comedy show. Has that been done very often? A remake of a comedy show? I'm sure it's been done, but this is the most famous example. That's such a weird thing to do, because you form such an emotional connection with the characters, and when you're replacing them with someone else and they're telling the jokes and they're trying to recreate a different kind of humor, but not really, it is a little strange.
Number 5, plastic surgery.
Wow.
What?
That came out of me.
From Botox to boob jobs, America is the world's leading market for cosmetic surgery, with millions going under the knife every year.
Wow, yeah, for that exact reason. I would have thought this was American invention. I mean, all of that sort of healthcare, if you want to call it healthcare, plastic surgery, is pretty modern inventions. So there was a decent shot that it was invented by American doctors or scientists. And it's performed so commonly and probably as one of the biggest plastic surgery markets in the world, if not the biggest. But it was invented in Britain, I'm told.
But the industry was by no means born in the USA. Sir Harold Gillies is often credited as the father of plastic surgery, a New Zealand-born, London-based surgeon who gathered leading physicians to treat thousands of soldiers who had been injured or disfigured in World War I. Gillies' work became a blueprint for all sorts of reconstructive procedures, and a starting point for today's aesthetic options.
That makes so much sense. It's actually such a noble, beginning to it all. Helping people who are, injured or needing reconstruction rather than all this cosmetic surgery that's all I really hear about these days.
Number 4, the light bulb. A supposedly serial stealer of other people's ideas, Thomas Edison's light bulb moment is considered one of the most significant steps in modern technology.
Hey, Edison! How about sharing some of those light bulbs, huh?
Hey, figure it out for yourself, man!
But experts are continually divided on just how much Edison did to develop the design.
What? This would end up being the biggest lie in American history if Thomas Edison didn't invent the light bulb. That's one of the number one achievements that we are taught in school. That, okay, Thomas Edison, he's our guy. He invented the light bulb, electricity. Very important to the world. You're telling me that is not necessarily true?
Before the Wizard of Menlo Park, there were countless other scientists creating electric light and light bulbs, not least British pioneers including Humphrey Davy and Joseph Swan. The anti-Edison camp claims that the inventor's only skill was knowing when to patent.
One thing Edison
Oh, knowing when to submit the patent for it, the patent. Wow. I mean, inventions like this, history is only written by the victors, as they say. So maybe Thomas Edison was just merely the inventor who got to write history and say, hey, I did it, and take all the credit. Where maybe there were other scientists doing the same thing, or I'm open to it. You know what? I'm open to the possibilities, but this is one of the more shocking revelations. Big if true.
did invent, for 100% genuine Edison invention that we use every day, probably most of us.
Is it nasal hair clippers?
Number 3, donuts.
What?
Bite won't hurt you.
Donuts.
The origins of the donut are a sticky affair, with claims and counterclaims sending historians round and round in circles.
This is a good one, because this does feel like it should be a super American invention. And maybe I'm just talking about the fact that Americans are super unhealthy and love donuts. I won't deny it. As a matter of fact, I'll embrace it. It's the truth. We like donuts. And it's such an American-seeming thing that when you think about it, though, it makes complete sense that this could have come from anywhere in the world. It's just a simple little baked good with some sugar or frosting on top.
However, while a stronger suggestion remains that the Dutch took the treats to America in the mid-19th century, a 2013 discovery seemingly proves that the Brits were baking them at least 50 years before.
Really?
Baroness Elizabeth Dimsdale's cookbook dates to 1800 and includes a strikingly similar recipe.
Really? Well, that was only discovered 9 years ago? That Britain might be responsible for donuts? Well, I don't have any kind of defense. I don't feel defensive about this one. I'll just say thank you. Thank you very much.
A deep-fried concoction of sugar, eggs, butter, and yeast, add some icing, and it's the real deal. Number 2, baseball.
What? You know, I feel like I heard about this one. This one shocked me. Baseball is one of the most American things on this list. I am really becoming disturbed with how many classic American things are on this list that I didn't know were British. Seriously, apple pie, the light bulb, baseball.
A national sport and obsession in the US, baseball was born in the UK. There are countless records of bat and ball games being played in Blighty, starting with stool ball in the 1300s. Sure, the rules have changed and refined over the years, but the basic premise is usually the same. Someone pitches, someone swings, others try to catch. In fact, some researchers argue that baseball is an offshoot of cricket, an English obsession which didn't catch on across the Atlantic. At all.
Well, you know, the more I think about these things, the more it's like British influence and British history is has far more depth and reach than American history. So it makes sense that a lot of these American things were actually first brought by Britain. Huh. I just never thought of it like that, or didn't want to think of it like that.
Number 1, the Star Spangled Banner.
Are you kidding me?
We finish with a final salute for great British influence on American culture, because the US national anthem is sung to the tune of an 18th century English drinking song.
Really? I was gonna say, I do not know who wrote the Star Spangled Banner. I know I was taught it. Just not enough memory left in the old memory bank. But we're kind of getting into the specific melody here that it was put to. So maybe the words were written by an American. I mean, I would think so. And the melody was written in a song that was British and then taken and put in, and then the Star Spangled Banner was placed on top of it. That's what I think. I understand.
Because the US national anthem is sung to the tune of an 18th century English drinking song. Baltimore wordsmith Francis Scott Key takes full credit for the lyrics, but the melody was written by John Stafford Smith, a Gloucester-born composer.
Really? That is very interesting.
The Anacreontic song, as it was originally known, was regularly belted around a prestigious London gentleman's club.
They never taught us that little fact in American school. They never mentioned that.
Where wealthy people met to wine and dine. Do you agree with our pick?
Oh my goodness. I was scared of this video, and for good reason. This has shattered my worldview. I don't know what to do with myself anymore. This was by Watch Mojo UK. I will give it a thumbs up. I don't know if I like what I just heard. just kidding. It's all in good fun. It's actually good to know this kind of stuff, to be honest. What do the comments say? Any comments? Any British people rubbing it in? The origins of the Star Spangled Banner can also be seen in England. Yeah, I'm sure. Fine. Anything else? Baseball is just rounders with two hands on the bat. I don't know what rounders is. The Americans were originally British. The ultimate. Britain, sit down, son. America, oh, but we improved those things. Yeah, that's me. But we use it, and we made it a little better, and we claim it's ours. Yep, that's America. Oh, I think that's it. That's pretty much it. Okay. This was good. This was good. Good for me. Good for the soul. Good to learn about these fascinating things America stole from Britain. We stole it. It actually is, the way I interpret it is Britain invented a bunch of this stuff, and then we just were like, hey, that's pretty cool. That's mine now. It's mine. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed this reaction, feel free to give it a like or leave a comment. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to British culture, stuff that I've never seen or heard before, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.